morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Contemplation brought to you by Spotlight Recovery. I'm your host, Lucas. It is March the 7th, and I've got a good reflection here for us this morning. What other intro can I say? Let's just get right into it. March 7th, action. Ours is a program of action. It does no good to develop new awareness if we do not take appropriate new actions. When we become aware of the damage done by compulsive overeating and realize that Overeaters Anonymous has the answer to our problem, we take action by going to meetings, making phone calls, and working the steps. We follow a food plan and abstain from eating compulsively. Taking inventory, admitting our mistakes, and making amends involves action. Our higher power gives us courage to change the things we can. Our higher power gives us confidence to get involved in new activities, to be more assertive, to make new friends, to go back to school, to change jobs. By abstaining from the type of eating that paralyzed us, we have strength and energy to do new things. One step at a time, we are led into action. Not to move according to the direction of God is to fall backward and stagnate. Each positive action we take strengthens our recovery. Direct my actions, Lord. And this inspiration is from Food for Thought, Daily Meditations for Overeaters. So I thought I'd mix it up a little bit today. I like trying to get as many different forms of daily reflections as I can, just because they offer some other new or overlapping perspectives. They help show a lot of commonality between different forms of addiction to help kind of remove that stigma of like, oh, well, that wasn't my addiction, so I can't relate, and I didn't live like that. Like, I think if you're an overeater or had any form of eating disorder or not, but you're in recovery, I'm sure you can relate to at least half of this reflection, and definitely throw it down in the comments if you feel differently. I just would love to hear your experience. Overeating's definitely I don't want to say necessarily cross addiction for me. I identify, as I've learned more, as I've developed more in recovery, I've learned I identify more with the form of disordered eating as opposed to eating disorder, because it doesn't get as full-fledged for me as it does for a lot of other people. But it's definitely been one of those like easy go-tos and like challenges since I quit doing all drugs. But anyway, getting into this, I like that it's action focused. I like that the reflection talks about and focuses on getting into that action to be making these life changes that we want. Not just sitting around and stagnating and waiting for the miracle to happen. It's like, no, these are tangible things you can do and get into to start changing your life and start building that life and recovery you want. That really speaks my language. I identify with that a lot. I like that a lot. I've seen and feel that it really is one of the biggest contributors to people's success in long-term recovery, right? So looking at some of these points. Again, identifying with eating or not. So you say, when we become aware of the damage done by our addiction, 12-step programs have the answer. We take action, go into meetings, make phone calls, work the steps. So all those parts are just like the good, typical 12-step meeting things that you've heard and continue to hear as you go to meetings. It really just goes through a lot of the steps. Those are like the basic daily things that a lot of people tell you to do and get into right away once you discover and come into 12-step programs. And then it starts getting into the steps a little bit more. Taking inventory, admitting our mistakes, making amends involves action. So steps 4 through 9. Then that connection with some form of a higher power, right? Really, steps 2 and 3 and throughout the program, right? Giving us courage, giving us confidence. And I like this other piece too, giving us the confidence to get involved in new activities. So for me now, it's talking more about like life outside of 12-step programs. This is now more of that holistic recovery approach. So it's not just, I'm going to come to meetings because I need to quit this addiction. It's like, okay, no, you've come, you're doing that, you're doing all this work to quit that addiction, and now we're looking at all these other aspects of your life that you may want to change or grow in. And I think for a lot of folks come into recovery and it can be hard to accept. It can be hard to realize and see. But a lot of people, when you need to come into recovery, live a total abstinence life, it's not just the addiction that has to change. It's looking at and realizing that all these other aspects of your life are actually have become at some point contributors to your addiction. And so if the only thing that changes is the addiction, right? Like in this case, used to have this overeating issue. Now I'm living in recovery from that and living by a food plan on top of doing all this 12-step work and everything. But I still am in this relationship that's actually turned out to be really unhealthy for me or isn't making me happy. I drag my ass out of bed to go to work every day at a job that I hate, or a school program that I don't identify with. Or I never went to school and I've always wanted to get that education to then build this career I really want. Or you look around at all your friends and you're like, I actually don't really connect with these people or don't like how they treat me or vice versa. Like, sometimes everything has to change with it. And I'm not like, it's not the black and white. For some folks, it's one or two of the things I listed. Some it's none, some it's all of them. But again, it's just taking a look at all these other things that we could change to be healthier for our recovery, to protect it, to be safe, because recovery has to be number one at all times. Or you are getting some more confidence and stability in your recovery, but you want to keep going. Life is good, it's better, but it's not as good as you know it could be. It's not the life you really want to live. So let's start looking at those things too. What are other areas and ways that I can grow in my recovery? Thanks to this program, thanks to the confidence, love, and faith and connection I have from some form of higher power. Just so I know that something else is looking out for me. Something's got my back. If I fall down, something's there to catch me, so on and so forth. It just helps give us this energy, momentum, drive, whatever it is for you, to be able to be striving for something more out of life, more than just living the same life and quitting the addiction, fully building a life you want. And that's the messaging that I really like on that. That's the thing that really stands out for me today. And yeah, that third paragraph is pretty much talking about what I just talked about. I got ahead of myself. Yeah, by abstaining from the types of eating that paralyzed us, so it could easily also say, by abstaining from the addiction that paralyzed us, we have strength and energy to do new things. One step at a time, we are led into action. Not to move according to the direction of God is to fall backward and stagnate. Each positive action we take strengthens our recovery. So with this, I don't want the line, not moving according to the direction of God, and then the last line, direct my actions, Lord, to be the lines that make you like, oh, barf, and like, oh, no, that doesn't work for me, and this guy's just trying to sell me some religion or any of that crap. Like, no. I don't want that to get in the way. I don't want that to be a barrier or a block from all this other good messaging that's in this reflection. I do identify with this God piece very much. I've become very spiritual through life and recovery and really try to build and develop that relationship with God. So that really works for me. That's a whole other piece of the program, which I'm not going to get into now because I don't want it to dilute from the other key messaging that was standing out that I was just sharing on. So take that whole piece and know that that's a part of this process that you can work through and learn, develop, and understand on as well. And I've got, look through the other daily reflections videos I've put out. I've got a ton of different ones on this topic and talking more about the God thing. Okay? But anyway, yeah, that's what stands out for me with these today. And I just liked that one, and so wanted to throw it up there. Okay, so please in the comments, write what stands out for you. What do you resonate with out of this reflection? Would love to hear your thoughts and your shares. And And just check out the description in the video as well, just to see all the other ways that Spotlight Recovery can support you, or that you can support Spotlight Recovery. Okay? I do private recovery coaching with folks, so if you're hearing all these things and saying, okay, yeah, Lucas, I sort of identify with what you're talking about here and there, but I still don't see how this identifies with me or how that can help me, well, send me an email. It's in the description as well. I'd be happy to chat with you and see if I can help work through some of these issues with you too. Okay? Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed another episode of Coffee and Contemplation. Wishing you a blessed 24 in your recovery today, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.